Calling the roll for the Monday, May 14th Board of Control meeting, Nan Baker, Dale Miller, Trevor McAleer serving as an alternate for Dan Brady, Mike Chambers serving as an alternate for Mike Dever, Armin Budish,
Here.
Dennis Kennedy, Lenora Lockett. We have a quorum.
Thank you. The minutes of May 7th, any corrections, changes? Seeing none, I move to approve. Is there a second? Seconded by Councilwoman Miller. All those in favor of approving the minutes, please say aye. Opposed? Minutes are approved. Any public comment?
No public comment at this time,
No tabled items?
and no tabled items.
Okay. Let's go.
First item, item number BC 2018-290, Department of Public Works. 289, excuse me. Department of Public Works recommending an award on requisition 41927 to Bob Gillingham Ford in the amount of $152,068 for the purchase of 5 2018 Ford all-wheel drive Interceptors for use by various county departments.
Good morning, Tom Pavich, Department of Public Works. This item, we're recommending an award to Bobby Gillingham, purchase 5 new vehicles. All 5 vehicles are replacements. This was formally bid through OPD. It went to 14 vendors, and there were 4 submissions, so we're going with the lowest bidder.
Thank you. Questions? Seeing none, I move to approve. Is there a second? Seconded by Mr. Chambers. All those in favor, please say aye. Opposed? Everybody approves it. Thank you.
Next item, item BC 2018-290, Department of Public Works, recommending an award on requisition 42114 to Donnell Ford in the amount of $48,652.02 for the purchase of one 2018 Ford E450 box van.
Good morning, Tom Pavich again, Department of Public Works. Recommending award Donnell Ford purchase of 1 box van. It's a Ford E450 larger size. This was also a formal bid, went to 14 vendors. We had 3 submissions, and the bidders, Donnell Ford, that we're going to award to. And this is a replacement of a 1997 Chevy G30, so it's a fairly old replacement.
Thank you. Any questions? Councilwoman Baker.
Just curious on this and even the prior one. So we are replacing it because it needs to be replaced, but we're also going to be reusing it.
Let me double check my notes. There was a bunch of these vehicles.
And with the last 2, it says it will become replacement vehicles for protective services. I'm just curious there.
That's correct. So we have a fleet manager. He determines, there's a lot of different things that go into it. Mileage, if there's rust, if the engine, transmission, there's different things. A lot of times with vehicles, we pass them down. So just because one vehicle goes out of service with, say, Sheriff's Office, we may be able to use it somewhere else. We pass it down, which is going to replace a car that may be older and worse shape. So it's kind of like a chain reaction. And we use them until the end of shelf life.
Okay. So the reason for replacing it is just isn't up to par for the purpose it's needed for.
That's correct. This
But it can't be used elsewhere.
Yes, this the box van. This was a 1997 model year. I don't know the mileage on it, but this one will be auctioned. And then the first ones, those 5 vehicles range in dates from 2005, 2010. So
Okay.
a lot of these vehicles, there's a lot of wear and tear. So
But still usable. They
some of
pass it
them,
down.
some of them are deemed still usable. We'll pass them down.
Thank you.
Further questions? Seeing none, I move to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilwoman Baker. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item passes. Thank you.
Next item, item BC 2018-291, Department of Public Works, recommending an award on requisition 42032 to Bob Gillingham Ford in the amount of $43,694.50, and it's for the purchase of one 2018 Ford Transit 350 medium roof van.
Good morning, Tom Pavich, Department of Public Works again. Again, this is another award recommendation, Bob Gillingham, for 1 roof van. This is for the Department of Public Works Road and Bridge Division. It's a replacement for a 2001 model with over 100,000 miles. And this was a formal bid as well. Went to 14 vendors with 3 bid submissions.
Thank you. Questions? Seeing none, I move to approve. Is there a second? Seconded by Mr. McAleer. All in favor, please say aye. Opposed? Item passes. Thank you.
Thank you.
The next item is a 2-part item. Item number BC 2018-292, Department of Workforce Development, submitting amendments to contracts with various providers for various services in connection with the Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act for the period July 1st, 2016 through June 30th, 2018, to extend the time period to June 30th, 2019, and for additional funds in the amount not to exceed $175,000. It's A, contract number CE 1600-240 with Vantage Aging, Inc., formerly known as Mature Services Incorporated, for mature job seeker services and implementation of the Encore program in the amount not to exceed $100,000. And B, contract number CE 1600-241 with Towards Employment, Inc., for job seeker services to applicants with felony backgrounds in the amount not to exceed $75,000.
Frank Brickner from the Department of Workforce Development, seeking approval to extend the contracts for one additional fiscal year from July 2018 through June 2019, and that's the cycle of funds that we get from the Federal Workforce Innovation Act. Vantage Aging, what they do is their expertise is serving individuals 50 years and older. They work as part of a team at both the Comprehensive One-Stop at 1910 Carnegie and also at the Old Brooklyn Neighborhood Family Service Center. They assist job seekers, low-income individuals, and laid-off individuals find employment, and they provide those services. Towards Employment, they were selected as part of the request for proposal process to serve ex-offenders. So they help ex-offenders some of the barriers to employment, and that's their expertise.
Thank you. Questions? Mr. McAleer?
Frank, do you just have an estimate of how many people are served each year with this contract?
For the Towards Employment, there's about 400 individuals who are served each year, ex-offenders. The Vantage Aging's a little trickier because they're integrated with other partner staff at the Comprehensive Center as well as the Old Brooklyn. We serve over 10,000 individuals who come through our doors annually.
Further questions? Councilwoman Baker?
Yeah, let me, my notes here. So you serve approximately 10,000 comes through your door, and that's a mixture of all ages.
Correct.
We can't really narrow down what the 50 or older are in the Vantage piece of it.
Well, you know, they're part of a team working with individuals. So there could be county employees, city employees, and United Labor Agency employees. Now, they may also serve individually. They may do workshops, including all age ranges, but then they may do one-on-one counseling for the individuals. The good thing about Vantage Aging is they also provide a lot of leveraged funds. They get Title V funds for individuals who are low income, 50 and older. So they use some of those dollars to provide services to the one-stop, to staff resource rooms. So we get a lot for this contract.
Okay, if I may, I guess I'm just curious, 175,000 is the Vantage ask?
No, 100, we're asking for approval for 100,000 for Vantage Aging.
Okay.
And 75,000 from Towards Employment. Those are very conservative contract amounts. Their contracts are significantly higher this current fiscal year. We just wanted to put something in place because we won't get our formal WIOA allocations until late June, but we can't work without contracts, so we're setting something in place.
Okay. I guess I'm just curious of the 100,000 that we're investing, how many actually secure jobs? I mean, I guess it's result-driven.
Mm-hmm.
So if we're going to be investing and giving workforce training and all, I just would think that that would be a number that you would want to track.
We've placed 1,960 individuals in jobs for the first 9 months of this fiscal year, July 17 through March 2018. Okay. That is exceeding our federal threshold. Now, of that 1,960, we could find out how many of those are 50 and older, but probably about a third. Our average age coming to the one-stop is about 40 years old.
Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting to know, too. Yeah, the next time that you would ask for funding, it would be good to see those breakdowns.
Sure.
Just to see the results
And we could split it up to where they're actually in, both the comprehensive one-stop as well as Old Brooklyn.
That would be good.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Good. Further questions? Mr. Kennedy?
How are we invoiced for this? Is it on a per person basis?
It's cost reimbursement basis. We are reimbursed after we negotiate the contract with them, so there are terms and conditions about how many individuals served and they give monthly reports, but it is on a cost reimbursement basis.
Then the last time you bid it was 2016?
Yes.
After this extension, will you have an RFP again?
Yes, it was a 3-year RFP, so this will be the last year. We're going to be working on an RFP starting for services July 1st, 2019.
Okay, thanks.
If I may, then?
Yes,
When you come
Councilwoman
back
Baker.
and ask for that new RFP, that would be a great time to have maybe a little more finite numbers.
Sure.
To break down, the results of what your prior work has been. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Further questions? Seeing none, I move to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilwoman Baker. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Item passes. Thank you.
Next item is a two-part item, item BC 2018-293, Department of Human Resources. A, submitting an RFP exemption on requisition 42509, which will result in an award recommendation to Employers Resource Council Services, Inc. in the amount of $2,758 for effective workplace investigation training, which was held on February 28, 2018, and B, recommending the award in connection with said RFP exemption.
Good morning, Pat Smock on behalf of the Department of Human Resources. As mentioned, this is an exemption and award request for training attended by employee relations specialists, HR analysts, and other staff. There was an informal review, 3 vendor submissions, and this is the recommended vendor after that review and scoring. Contracting staff was informed of this training late. Our staff's been updated on the procurement process requirements, and we anticipate that all similar requests will be filed timely in the future, and we appreciate your consideration of this request.
Thank you. Any questions? Seeing none, I move to approve. Is there a second? Seconded by Mr. McAleer. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Item passes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item, item BC 2018-294, Department of Health and Human Services, Division of Children and Family Services, recommending an award on requisition 42538 and enter into an agreement with Ohio Attorney General, care of Treasurer, State of Ohio, Bureau of Criminal Identification and Investigation, in the amount not to exceed $450,000 for National Web Check Program services and equipment for criminal background checks on child care provider applicants, and it's for the period January 1st, 2018 through December 31st, 2020.
Good morning, Bob Math with the Department of Health and Human Services on behalf of Division of Children and Family Services. This is a 3-year contract with the Ohio Attorney General's office to do background, fingerprinting for, foster and adoptive applicants, as we're required to do that every 4 years for people that are on the list, then for foster parents and other caregivers every 2 years. And this is a 3-year agreement with a contract with the Ohio Attorney General's office.
Thank you. Any questions? Seeing none, I move to approve. Is there a second? Seconded by Mr. McAleer. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Item passes. Thank you.
Next item is a two-part item, item BC item BC 2018-295, Department of Health and Human Services, Division of Senior and Adult Services. A, submitting an RFP exemption on requisition 42676, which will result in an award recommendation to Dr. Lori Stevick Rust in the amount not to exceed $1,000 for speaker services for the annual Senior Center Forum, being held on May 16th of this year. B, recommending an award in connection with said RFP exemption.
Bob Math again on behalf of a Division of Senior and Adult Services. This coming week is the annual Senior Services Forum, where we invite senior providers of senior services to talk about currently what they're doing and talk about other best practices. It is a half-day session, and DSAS leadership had heard this Dr. Rust speak before. She's a nationally recognized professional in the area of aging, specializing in Alzheimer's treatment, and this is a contract for her to serve as the keynote speaker and then to host one of the breakout sessions.
Thank you. Questions? Seeing none, I move to approve. Is there a second? Seconded by Councilman Miller. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Item passes. Thank you. And the exemptions?
Item number BC 2018-296, Department of Public Works, recommending to amend Board Approval Number BC 2017-795, dated November 6, 2017, which authorized an alternate procurement process on requisition 41003, which will result in an award recommendation to Cleveland Lumber for the purchase of various general building supplies in connection with the Cleveland Police Headquarters Building and Bedford Jail, and it's for the period November 6, 2017 through November 5th, 2019. And we are amending it by reducing the amount not to exceed from $200,000 to $100,000.
Good morning, Matt Reimer, representing the Department of Public Works. This requested amendment to Board Approval Number 2017-7095 was one of our original alternate procurements that we presented in November of 2017 for the Cleveland Police and Bedford Jail project. This particular alternate procurement for general building supplies, we did not need all that we had envisioned at that point in time, so we're asking for a reduction in the not-to-exceed amount. This will result in a decertification of funds that will go back to the project budget.
Thank you. Questions? Seeing none, I move to approve. Is there a second? Seconded by Councilman Miller. All those in favor, please say aye. Opposed? Item passes. Thank you.
Next item, BC 2018-297, again, Department of Public Works, recommending to amend Board Approval Number BC 2017, and it should reflect 796, dated November 6, 2017, which authorized an alternate procurement process on requisition 41185, which will result in an award recommendation to Doors and Hardware, Inc. for the purchase of various doors and related hardware in connection with the Cleveland Police Headquarters Building and Bedford Jail, and it's for the period November 6, 2017 through November 5th, 2019. And we're amending it by increasing the amount not to exceed from $200,000 to $275,000.
Good morning, Matt Reimer, again representing the Department of Public Works. This is a similar item in that we are requesting to amend the original alternate procurement that we presented in November of 2017. We're requesting a $75,000 increase to this not-to-exceed amount. This is the only one of the alternate procurements that we're expecting to do this for. Doors and hardware are a critical component to finish up as we reach our deadline in the July 4th weekend for moving the probation department. And so we have evaluated the timing that we're proceeding with the next formal bids, and this one is one that we will not be able to meet our timing for. So this, I expect, will be our only request to increase the original alternate procurements and request your consideration. Thank you.
Thank you. Questions? Councilman Miller.
So are you saying that you needed more money for doors and related hardware than you anticipated?
Oh, yes, Councilman, we did. As context, in November when we presented these, we did not yet have our design documents completed. We took our best engineering judgment at the dollar amounts that we were going to use. For this one, we were off in what we needed. We didn't get our design documents until late January when we had our final permit set.
Mr. McAleer.
But between the two items, you're still, right now, you'll be below expected spend between the two items. Right?
That's correct. So of the $1.2 million that we have in alternate procurement authority, so to speak, hopefully I'm using the right terminology there, this will net reduce it by $25,000.
Further questions? Mr. Kennedy?
Matt, is any of this $75,000 increase already spent?
No, it is not. We are below the $200,000 not to exceed right now, Mr. Kennedy, and we, something to note here too, we will be pursuing a purchase order to finalize the final order here. So we will present that in an upcoming board, hopefully next week, the final purchase order that'll bring that up to that $275,000.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? Seeing none, I move to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Miller. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item passes. Thank you. We're now on to the consent agenda. One item, 298, multiple parts. And if anyone has any questions, I'd be happy to entertain them. Are there any questions? Seeing none, I move to approve the item 298. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Miller. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item passes. Thank you. And we're on to other business. Is there any other business?
Yes, there is. If you turn to the agenda on page 7, there's a time-sensitive mission-critical item, item BC 2018-299, Sheriff's Department recommending an award on requisition 42684 to Alliance Healthcare Solutions LLC in the amount not to exceed $24,988, and it's for staffing of temporary nurses at the Bedford Heights Jail Facility for the period May 10th, 2018 through December 31st, 2018.
Good morning. Ken Mills, the Director of Regional Corrections. This request was necessary for us to get the staffing out at Bedford Heights facility so we could transfer inmates out to that facility. Today's the day we're starting to transition over from Cleveland, taking their fresh arrest, so we needed the capacity to do it. It was a result of, we had previously made offers to 6 RNs who fell through for various reasons, didn't start. HR has made offers to 5 more. This situation is expected to be remedied, and the end of May 29th is the start date for the new nurses.
Thank you. Any questions? Councilman Miller.
I know that we have a contract with Metro Health for health services for the county jail. Does that contract not extend to this?
The current contract is just for the providers. It does not, the nurses are all county employees in downtown. We don't have a contract for nurses or LPNs, but Metro Health will be providing the health care for the physicians and the overall oversight, the medical director for Bedford Heights, yes.
It'll be the exact same scenario as we have downtown.
But they don't supply the nursing staff?
No, sir.
Further questions? Mr. McAleer.
How many for it, and this is what, 8 months or so contract for only $24,000? How many nurses are what?
This is just to bridge the gap of the next 2.5, 3 weeks. It's right now the staffing out there would be an RN and an LPN, which equates to about $86 an hour for the both of them.
And then if it's only, Ken, for a couple weeks or maybe a month or 2 months, why are we going through December 31st?
Just for the fact that we don't have the permanent nurses on staff yet. If something falls through, I'll need to continue it a little longer until we get it staffed correctly.
Mr. Chair, did we bid this out? Or is this?
Yeah, we did the mission critical criteria. What is it? The 2 hours on, yes.
And just since we do have a contract with Metro related to the physicians, did we have a conversation with them to see if they could provide the nurses on a temporary basis?
They couldn't provide them, and we've been in conversation with them for the last month trying to sort this issue out. This was our last resort, was put the temporary nurses out there.
Okay, so Metro couldn't provide the nurses in time? Was that?
Correct.
Okay.
Follow-up question.
Yes, Councilman Miller.
If things go well and this is in fact only for 2 weeks, would you end up spending considerably less than the $24,988?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
About how much of it would be spent under that scenario?
Donna's a financial.
Introduce yourself.
Good morning, Donna Cleo, Sheriff's Finance Manager. at the current rate right now with one RN and one LPN, I'm estimating that this 24,000 will last us about 5 weeks. So, basically, yeah, so if we only use them for 2 weeks, then some will go back in, but we may still leave the contract in place just in case we run, because we have had nursing issues at the jail for a long time now, so, that's why we extended it till the end of the year, or for so far out.
Okay, Mr. McAleer.
Do we have any issues or anything related to the union with our current nurse? I mean, is this going to be an issue or?
We spoke to the union about this contract, and they're absolutely fine with it. The union issues we're having is with Metro Health providing nurses. That's more of where the union issue's coming in. As for this particular contract, we've already had discussions with them, and they said they're fine with that.
Any other questions? Councilwoman Baker.
Just for a clarification, it's coming out of the general fund. Is that typically where these funds would come out and not the sheriff's budget?
It's the share, it is out of our budget, yes.
Okay, it
Yeah.
says just funding source general fund, but sheriff's, okay. Thank you.
Further questions?
I just
Yes,
have,
Mr. McAleer.
a question, Mr. Chair. Would it be possible, and I know this starts on May 10th, would it be possible to hold this for 1 week, just so I could have some discussion with some council members before we approve it?
Well, then we can't staff up. We have to then hold, because we're not going to be bringing people in without authorization, which means that we then lose, I don't know what we do with the prisoners if we don't do that.
Are they there now, though, since it's backdated to May 10th?
It's just.
So the nurses are there now, even
Are there
without-
nurses there now? How are we doing with the nurses now?
Correct. We did the mission critical, the sheriff approved mission critical purchase. It's approved, he approved it, and we staffed it today.
Lenore Lockett, with time-sensitive mission criticals, the department makes the award. Then they bring it to the board for confirmation that it was time-sensitive mission critical. So they've already made the commitment based on the time-sensitive mission critical process. Now, of course, as he stated, it's a not-to-exceed amount. So if they don't use the nurses, then that would be what would limit the county's commitment.
Sure.
Just for knowledge, let's just say we decided not to support this. What happens then?
We'd probably have to, I don't know what we would do. What would we do?
Thank you, just for
And I
knowledge.
think to follow up to that question, Nan, we would probably, as the county, would have to consider paying for at least services up to the point where
Correct.
the Board of Control said no. Mr. Chair, would it be possible, with that said, since it's already approved, at least can we just hold it in terms, for another week? Just, I would like to have some discussion with some council members just to make sure they know what's going on before we at least approve a contract through the end of the year.
Okay.
I know it's a not to exceed dollar amount that would only get us for a couple weeks, but I'd rather just have that discussion if it's okay.
Right.
Thank you. Yeah, right, it's still good to continue, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Good, good.
Okay. Other new business, other mission critical.
We have 3 additional mission critical items. The first one is with the Department of Public Works, recommending an award on requisition 42552 in the amount not to exceed $2,800 with the vendor Quality Truck Body and Equipment, and it's for replacement pickup truck bed, and the funding source is Internal Service Fund.
Chambers of Public Works, we're asking for your final approval of this item. This is a very difficult item to get. This is a 2006 vehicle. They don't make those models anymore. Our fleet manager spent several days trying to find this thing. When we did find it, we were given a 48-hour ultimatum, and we went ahead and authorized it. This pickup truck has 90,000 miles on it and has a lot of useful life yet. So the $2,800 was able to put it back into the fleet. So we're asking for approval.
Okay. I move to amend today's agenda to consider the item. Is there a second? Seconded by Councilman Miller. All those in favor, please say aye. Opposed? The agenda is amended. Any questions on the item? Seeing none, I move to approve the item. Is there a second? Seconded by Councilman Miller. All those in favor, please say aye. Opposed? Item is approved.
The second mission critical item is Department of Public Works recommending an award on requisition 42362 in the amount not to exceed $4,958.24 with Service Master Restore Disaster Recon. The service is for the Juvenile Justice Center, and it's for deodorization and dehumidification after the fire that took place.
Mike Chambers of Public Works. In early February, there was a fire in the fourth floor conference room of the prosecutor's office. It set off the sprinklers. The water was coming through. We immediately immobilized this firm. We had used them in the past because the more water was going down, the more damages was being accrued. As a result, we finally got the invoice, and unfortunately, due to some of my personal issues, I was unable to get this thing into you a little more timely. But we did utilize Service Masters, and the amount was $4,958.24. Just as a side note, there was probably an additional $15,000 worth of our time associated with getting this thing back up to where it needs to be, getting it painted and the drywall removed and everything.
Thank you. I move to amend the agenda to consider the item. Is there a second? Seconded by Mr. McAleer. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The agenda is amended. Any questions on the item? Councilman Miller.
What was the cause of the fire?
Without 100% proof, it was, the educated guess was a cigarette. And the sheriff's team was notified. There was a full report done. They've installed cameras in there since then, but there's not 100% proof to say that, but that's what they believe it was.
Further questions? Councilwoman Baker.
We have maybe asked this before, was there any insurance coverage on this?
We're self-insured, and I mean, this is $4,000 under $5,000, so it's going to be actually charged to the prosecutors through space maintenance.
Thank you.
Sure.
Further questions? Seeing none, I move to approve the item. Is there a second? Seconded by Mr. McAleer. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item passes. Thank you.
Next item, Department of Public Works, recommending an award on requisition 42710 in the estimated amount not to exceed $1,500 with the Plain Dealer for advertisement services.
Mike Chambers again with Public Works. We had to rebid Royalton Road. We're kind of on a timeline with the federal funding to make sure we get the project awarded. We bid this once, and the bids came in a bit higher than our engineer's estimate, so we revised the estimate, and we are now going out. We authorized actually last week to go ahead and do the advertising. This might be something we want to consider in the future to maybe make an exemption when we do advertising. So.
Okay, I move to amend the agenda. Consider the item. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Miller. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The agenda is amended. Any questions on the item? Mr. McAleer?
But so when the bids come in higher than the estimate, the engineer's estimate, you have to rebid it?
It came in over 10% higher.
Okay.
So once it comes over 10% higher, we automatically reject them. Then it gives us an opportunity to look at the plans, look at maybe where we went wrong, and then make some decisions from there.
I didn't realize you had to automatically reject them after.
If it came in that much, that's why they give that cushion.
Further questions? Seeing none, I move to approve. Is there a second? Seconded by Mr. McAleer. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
The item is approved. Any other business?
No other business at this time, and no public comment.
To adjourn, is there a second?
Second.
To adjourn. Seconded by Councilman Miller. All those in favor, please say aye. Thank you. We are adjourned.